When I started my first t-shirt business, most of you know the story, Moose Meat Apparel. And I started this company out of a volleyball team, and we were called Moose Meat. We all had Moose nicknames in the back, and everyone we would get like a following across Saskatchewan, and people would want to come to our volleyball tournaments just to watch the team Moose Meat play. And people would ask us, why are you called Moose Meat? And then when it started to grow on people, and people started to give us moose calls, moose cheers in the audience, they started to ask questions like, hey, do you sell Moose Meat shirts, Moose Meat hoodies? So I started to sell Moose Meat products, and my first company was Moose Meat Apparel. So I would sell these at all these events, different conferences, trade shows, powwows, and so on. And eventually, I ran into a problem. You see, the problem was beyond me being able to trademark this company, and I literally got a letter that I was supposed to close this company down. Otherwise, I would have run into a lawsuit. But the biggest thing I want to point out is I wasn't 100% invested into the company. What I mean by this is a lot of us, we have goals, or we're at a workplace right now and we're trying things out. We go into a job here, we try this out here, we go on to another job or a new project, and so on. I want to share with you one of the key secrets that I didn't know about back then. The reason it really failed was because my heart wasn't 100% invested into it yet. When your heart is 100% invested into a company, a project, your workplace, you find ways to succeed regardless of the obstacle. And at that time, because I wasn't 100% in it, I had 1 foot here and 1 foot still over here. It was a hobby to me. It wasn't 100% business yet. And if you want things to truly be maximized to its full potential, you have to give it everything you got, every ounce of energy. So when I got that letter, I had no choice but to close it down. And I had a little pity party. I went through a little depression. I didn't want to talk to anyone until I got told by a friend, why don't you just change the name? I was like, change the name? What do you mean? Well, why don't you call it Nietzsche Gear or Nietzsche Wear? I was like, interesting. Well, where does this word come from? He says it's called, it's a friend word. It's a slang form of friend. Nitsiwagan. Niwitsiwagan. My friend. My brother. So at the end of the day, it's basically friend gear. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, interesting. And then light bulbs started to go off. I could bring in how my best friend Johan helped me as a kid, and how he can help other kids through a story. Interesting. My mind started going off. And at that moment, I'm thinking, I had nothing else, to lose at that time. I was already a broke student. I had a failed company. We were just featured in the Globe and Mail, and the next day I closed that company down. I felt like a complete failure, and I felt like, what's there to lose now? I've already lost everything. So I changed it. I rebranded it, and I gave it more energy. I learned from the past mistake of having 1 foot here and 1 foot here. The second time around, when I launched Nietzsche Gear, I competed in business competitions. I had to learn how to do things I was very uncomfortable doing, like writing a business plan. I had no idea how to do that, so I had to find people who were smarter than me, take them out for coffee, sit there with a notepad and pen, and find out how to do this thing. Then I had to learn how to do a business pitch. I had no idea what I was doing with that. I had to learn. I had to watch Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, and I would sit there at the campus at the university, and I would open up a vacant classroom. I put my presentation on. I would practice my pitch in front of no one for hours and hours until I had enough confidence to show up and do this. Upon all of this, the reason we took it from the first pitch to our first store, which was our apartment, to our office, to the kiosk, to the stores, and so on. The reason I want to share with you is because I had no choice but to give it 100% of my energy, because there came a point where we were almost bankrupt, where we were lining up applying for welfare with my newborn son and my wife. Like, it was just a tough time. And at that moment, I made a decision that I was going to give this everything I had, and I had no choice but to make it succeed. Now my whole body's into it. I'm trying everything, and it was at that moment where opportunities started to come, because I was giving everything I had. I was giving all my energy. I was giving 100% focus and attention and effort. Fast forward a few years, you know the rest of the story. We had a bunch of stores. I was selling all over the place online. We're distributing. All this kind of things happened because of one decision, giving it everything I had. When you give something 100% of your energy, you get a higher chance of a return on it working out for yourself. So if you're doubting yourself in your projects, your own business, your workplace, I challenge you, give it more effort. You want to be employed for life? You want to actually have a chance of scaling in a corporation? Give it everything you have. Be that person that people notice that when you have a day you're not there, they know that you're not there because you're so valuable. You're a problem solver. You're the go-to person when something's going wrong because you're giving it all your energy there. In your business, the same thing. You are the person that's the life force behind your business growing. And when you're not there, your staff is going to know. In your projects, it's the same thing. Sometimes maybe you notice that sometimes you're the person that takes on all the projects because you're the person giving it more effort. But those people every single day, the people who give the most effort, get the most opportunity in the future. The choice is yours. That's my challenge to you. Give more effort today. Watch the return on investment in the future.